All right, hello, welcome back to the stream. Little bit of a late afternoon stream here. It's 3 o'clock. Hello, Light. Hello, Lenky. I'm doing well. How are you all doing? Glad to see you here. Yeah, and I'm recording this stream as well, so I can go and potentially edit it later and put it up as a condensed video, depending on what gets done. Doesn't hurt to record it though. Also got subscribers only mode on, so hopefully we don't get any of those unsightly spam messages. But today what I'm going to be doing is reworking some more UI, which I have already started to do. So for those of you that was it yesterday's stream? I believe so. What I did during yesterday's stream was I built out this fancy gun explorer with tabs which you could click, and my UX designer friend basically said, hey, how about you do this? How about you do a gun? Well, I can actually probably bring up the actual image, so let me just see if I can do that. But he was like, how about you do 2 columns? You do one card that's one gun and one card that's another gun. Then you have a couple of other cards here, reroll and take gold. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So let me see if I can actually like open this up. There we go. So this is essentially what he proposed is just, so for instance, if I'm getting a new gun part, show what the preview looks like on both guns at the same time as cards, so that you can allow the player to choose one, or have the reroll and the take 10 gold cards over here. And I think that's really nice. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. So let's see if we can do it. Looks good. Awesome. Yeah, glad you like it. So I think this will greatly simplify things. So I've already started building that out. So this is what the screen looks like currently. We've got the 2 cards here, as well as the reroll and the take 10 gold. And what I'm sort of in the middle of doing, or what I was in the middle of doing, is refactoring some of these card animations so that I can support all these use cases without copying a bunch of code everywhere. Maybe the taken. Yeah, I have made them a little bit smaller here, but we'll play around with it and we'll see what looks good. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to do this update hover group. I want to implement this. So basically what that means is, so if I go to my passive reward screen and I run this, what I've done is... Oh, I guess did I ruin it? Oh, I guess I can't show you. Basically what used to happen before I started refactoring is when you hover, it would slightly darken the other cards. And I think that's really good at just emphasizing that you've hovered on this card. I don't know why it's not working here. I must have ripped it out while I was refactoring, but so I want to basically make that generic behavior so I can add any number of cards to a hover group. And then when one of the cards in the hover group is hovered, then the other cards are going to be dimmed. That opening animation was sick. I'm glad you like it, yeah. Boom. And then when you click it, it slides in just like that. Blur, I don't even know how I would achieve a blur. I'd have to apply a shader to an entire collection of nodes. But the darken looks really good, so trust me, it'll be fine. With the up and the darken, with the up animation and the darken, it looks like I want it to look. So I think it'll be good. But let's do this then. So update hover group. Yeah, so essentially we just need to tween every other card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say other cards equals this dot get nodes, well, get tree. I think it'd have to be get tree. So get tree, get nodes in group. Is the darkening not working? No, it's not. I don't know why it's not working. I probably ripped out the code, but so get nodes in group. Let's see, what is our group here? Add to hover group, update hover group. So I'm gonna need to have a name here. Actually, here's what I'll do. I'll just make a new string, private string, hover group name. So we'll keep track of that name, so that way when we say update hover group, I can say hover group name, and we'll do it a little guard right here. If the hover group name is not equal to null, then we'll just return out of that. Okay, and we need to use link where, oh, get nodes in group, animated card. Still need to use link, there we go. And just replacing basically. So this code basically just, could I make the code a little bit bigger? I could, but I'm more efficient doing it this way. So apologies if it's not exactly easy to read, but I guess I could try. Let's see. Yeah, I like to be able to see more of my code. So apologies if it's too small, but I'm going to keep it like this. So basically what this code is doing, notifs just rolled out fully. Nice. Streaming again, I am. Welcome back, buddy. Hello, Annie welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. So, yeah, so basically what we're doing is we're getting all the cards that are in this hover group name that's not this current card, and then we're going to apply a modulate tween that darkens everything else in the group. And so what I'm going to do is basically anytime a hover animation is played, I'm going to say update hover group. And then also do it in here. Cool. So with that configured, let's see if I can test it now. So the passive reward selection screen, I don't need this on hovered anymore. Yeah, I don't need that anymore, so let's get rid of that. Oh, it wasn't working because I don't even have these hover signals anymore, so delete those as well. And so basically what I'm going to do is I need to add all of those cards to the hover group. So maybe I need to make this animated card public, I think. So that way I can set the hover group that I need it to be set. So we're going to add it to that hover group, and we're just going to say passives, something like that. And now, if it worked, I should see the cards being darkened when I start up the screen. It did not work. All right, let's see why that didn't work. Hover group name, add to group, update hover group. Hover group name. I guess we'll have to do some debugging, so let's try it. Put a breakpoint in there and see what happens. Oh wait, that's actually not going to be ideal. We're actually going to want to attach. Attaching doesn't work here either. I guess I'm going to have to use good old debug log. Can't watch today, but I hope they have a good day. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I hope you have a good day as well. I need to comment. So this is not even actually working. And why is this not working? So it's calling update hover group on play hover in and play hover out. I am adding it to the hover group in the passive rewards screen. Here. Add to group, and then I guess it's not even getting to this point. Yo, we're gonna print that yo right there. What's your favorite debug message, everyone? Is it similar? Yo. I'm kind of baffled why this isn't working. Am I not calling it correctly? Comment and print checks for each section. Well, that's a little bit overboard. Add to group. So it's not even getting here because the hover group name, it thinks that the hover group name is not set. And I just print the passives in there. All right, sounds good. See you in a bit, Light. One Man Indie, welcome, welcome, welcome to the stream. I am back at it again. I have always been back at it. I think this is I think I'm 8 or 9 hours deep into UI work at this point. I've done nothing else on the game except for UI work. It is draining my spirit, but we press forward. I obviously haven't streamed all of the development of the UI, but yeah, over the past 2 days or so, that's all I've been doing. So this play hover out. Interesting. I mean, I assume it's getting here. So for some reason, it just thinks that the hover group name is not set when I get to that point. No, it is set. Very interesting. Oh, because I I did the check wrong. Wow. Okay, it's gonna be that kind of stream, huh? If hover group name was not equal to null, I was returning. Yikes. Absolute yikes. Can I get a yikes in the chat? Okay, so it seems to be working now. Except this is the inverse of what it should be doing. So instead of darkening the other ones, it's lightening the other ones and darkening the one I'm hovering. Okay, so I think this is just an inversion of what I'm doing here. Cool. All right, so that should do it. Perfect. So those are darkening now when I hover. Now the question is, yikes, thank you. So the hover group is working. Cool. Yeah, I think that's working pretty good. So that's basically the effect that I want to apply to everything on this screen now. So what I'm going to do is essentially left gun preview card dot, let's see. I also need to make this, do I need to make this an animated card? All right, sorry, do I need to make this public? I think I should. Just because I need access to that method to add to the hover group. So, animated card dot add to hover group, and we're gonna call this group, I don't know, let's call it the reward. And I think I have 4 cards on this screen, so we're gonna add the right, we're gonna say the reroll card and the gold card. Which actually, I believe these are their own standalone animated cards, so I actually don't need that. All right, let's see if that all works. Could not match member gold card to any node. Is there a reason why that's the case? Oh, I guess these aren't animated cards yet. Right, okay, so I need to instance some new animated cards, which is just my base scene that contains all the animations. Okay, this is our reroll card. We'll add another animated card. Just transfer the children over. And now I have to figure out what size flags it was again. I think it's that. All right, so let's run this now. Cool, so that appears to be working. So you can see, I don't know how well you can see it on the stream, but everything else darkens when I hover over one of these. And the reason I have the player here is so that I can actually see all the correct stats. So pay no attention to the player being in this screen. Cool, so now we just need to make those hoverable. And the way that we do that is we say reroll card dot is hover enabled equals true and gold card. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good at all. that gold card just went straight up. Whoop. All right. That doesn't appear to be correct. So there's a proper way to fix this and there's a janky way to fix this, and I think I'll go with the janky way. And the janky way essentially is just to add another parent here, which I'm just going to make a margin container. I'm going to turn off all the margins, so it's just a container basically. And now we ought to be good. There we go. So now I don't have to worry about that animation being weird. So basically that's the screen. So now we just need to make it functional. So when the reroll is clicked, it needs to reroll both of these gun cards. And then gold, obviously when gold is clicked, it needs to work as well. So our wave reward selection screen, what do we got going on in here? And we're gonna want to animate like everything in as well and out. So there's a lot going on here, but so the important things is we want this on reroll pressed. So I'm gonna need to connect to that stuff. So reroll card dot connect name of. There's a clicked signal on the animated card, so we'll just attach to that. Okay, and then same for the gold card. And we're gonna need to add some sort of animation to these when they get clicked. Rename that signal to be consistent with everything else. So on equip button press. So this is going to be a little bit of a different one. We're going to need to connect to those left gun preview cards. Instead of retyping it all, I'm just going to copy the inside of that. Thank you very much. Right gun preview card. And then this is going to be on equip pressed. And I believe what I need to do in here is, so it wants to send a selected slot over in the signal. So what I'll do is I'll say, here, I'm going to take a gun slot as an argument and then just forward that into the equip button pressed emission. And then I'll need to add that as a binding in here. So that'll be sent into the signal, and of course I need to make this one the right one. Perfect. All right. There's a lot of cleanup still to do here, but I think that that's pretty much correct. So when reroll is pressed, create equip bounce tween. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift this tween right out of here. Yeah, let's lift the tween right out of here. We can put this on the animated card. This is just giving it a slight bounce. And so I can do something like public void play bounce. And we'll just say we're going to create a tween, this, and it looks like I want to return that. So we'll just return the tween from there. And then I think we'll probably want to play the bounce by default when it gets clicked. And it might be a good idea to sort of store this. Just so that way we can kill it. So if we call play bounce twice in a row, what will happen is it will kill the old tween and then use the new one. All right. So now if we go back to our main screen, I'm going to get rid of that. So when we animate out, This is going to be tricky. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing. We'll just comment that out for now. On reroll pressed, we can probably comment that out as well. And what we're going to want to do probably here is when the part is set, we're going to say I think we want to play the bounce animation for both of these when a new part is set. So the reroll will set a new part, it will call this, and then we want to do something. It's very hard to visualize this. I'm going to run the game and see what happens. See if everything works. The animations are going to be all out of whack, but I think it's going to work just fine. Or it'll crash, that's cool too. $99. Oh, I see. So it's trying to set the remaining rerolls and it's not working because all of this is ancient code that no longer exists. So I might as well just start cleaning some of this up. I'm gonna have to do some logic in here. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so we're looking good here. If I click reroll, nothing is happening. I gotta get rid of some of these. So the equip button, the reroll button, and the gun explorer are all gone. So this animate in doesn't make any sense anymore either. I will keep those though because I might want those tweens, those animations. Might not want to redo them all. So we'll do another little test real quick. Pick a card, any card. So all of this is looking good. If I click reroll, nothing happens, but it appears to be generating the correct things now. So why is the reroll click? Did I never connect to the... No, I did connect to click here. On reroll pressed. So nothing is happening. So there must be something intercepting my mouse clicks here. We'll do another print in the reroll pressed. So I think there's something intercepting my mouse click, so I just got to figure out what that might be. So yeah, there's no yo being pressed when I click that. So what do we got? Reroll card, there's a VBox container, and then there's an HBox container. Although this all should be passing the mouse events. But I suppose it doesn't hurt to see if we can just turn off the mouse flags. Oh, there is a mouse flag. Oh, the margin container by default has a filter of stop. So I'm curious, if I click outside to the left, yeah. If I click outside to the left, not inside the margin container, it works. So that's the problem. So this margin container here needs to be set to pass or ignore. And this one will as well. Set it to pass. And these as well, this margin container. I believe this needs to be set to pass as well. Take a look at it. Hopefully I can get this done relatively quickly, and then we can build some fun content for the game. So clicking still isn't working, but we got a sniper barrel. So there's still something in here that's not accepting my mouse click. Is there more? Oh, there's more margin containers, that's why. I suppose what I could do is just make all of this, like, ignore mouse clicks, but... Oh, all of the panels also... All of these panel containers. Oh, goodness. Okay. So I'm just going to have to edit the mouse flags of all these panel containers, because they're all set to stop by default as well. We don't need that anymore, so... Oh, fun. Okay, so all of these panel containers, except for the animated card one, basically needs to be ignored. Just iterating. Gotta just keep running it. I wish I had a quicker way to test it, but I don't have any test data built in that can reroll. Okay, so the re-rolling seems to work. If I click the crystal magazine... Oh, that appears to be changing my gun, actually. It's not closing the screen. Also, these cards are shifting for some reason over here. So we'll have to figure that out, but... We'll have to figure that out, but it seems to be working now. So on reroll pressed, so we gotta set, let's handle the set remaining rerolls. Oops. What did I do? So when I handle the set remaining rerolls in my screen here, I'm gonna need to change the reroll label. So let's go ahead and access that as a unique name. Private label, reroll label. Nice spot. Yeah, thank you, Tom. Yeah, if you're not getting any events, usually it's because there's a UI element that's preventing it, which is very frustrating. I just wish it was consistent. Like, I think all the UI elements should be set to, like, pass, unless they're input elements, like text boxes and stuff. But the fact that there are some elements that are pass and some elements that are stop, it's like... Then you gotta go in and figure out which one's which and what's causing a problem. It's a whole thing, but... Okay, so that should take care of the set remaining rerolls. So we're gonna set the reroll card to have a disabled input if the remaining is less than or equal to 0. So that way you can't reroll past the number that you get assigned. And then we need to animate this stuff out when you select something. Which I believe I can just test the animations in here. So, all right, let's do some animations. UI can be so rough. Yes, it can indeed. It can indeed. I know. But when you do it right, it really makes a huge difference. So that's why I'm spending so much time on it. It's a very important thing. Like, your UI being easy to use, I feel, can just be the difference between your users having a good or a bad time. Or your players, rather, not users. Same difference. So we need to animate all of this out. So when I click a gun part, here. I want to take everything else in the scene and animate it out. Keep the weapon that you've equipped, that card, on the screen for just a little bit longer to really emphasize that you chose this one, and then have that go away as well. So I think what I can do is I can use a discard animation, and it's the same thing that I'm doing in the passive reward selection screen. So in here, what I'm doing is I'm essentially setting up a tween that discards the other cards. And I wonder if I can make this generic. I think I can. So I'm going to just copy this, lift it right out of here, don't worry about it. And what I'm going to do... I get rid of this. Sorry, I just had to fix that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, put it in my base animated card class. I'm going to create a public method called discard others. Okay, and then I'm going to create a private method that's, well, I guess I don't need to be, it doesn't need to be private. So the other cards are going to be, essentially I'm going to be able to get the cards in the group. So I should probably pull this out as well. Private, enumerable, animated card, get other cards, return that line there. So we're going to get every card in my group that is not me. I'm going to say, hey, other card, I'm going to set your input to disabled. Then I'm going to grab the global position of it. I'm going to say other card.getParent.removeChild. So we're removing it from its parent because its parent is likely to be a container, which is going to change its positioning. So we're taking it out of its parent. We're adding it to the root of the current scene, and then we're going to reassign the global position so that it's basically in the same spot that it was. And then we're going to assign this tween to it. And that's what discard others is going to do. And the way that we can test this is I can go to my passive reward screen and I can simply just say card.discard others. And it didn't work. Oh, card.animatedCard.discard others. Now this might not work the way that I want it to work, but we're going to find out. IDK, if you could do this in Godot, but I've found springs to be a great way to juice up UI fast. Yeah, for sure. You don't even need to really use like spring functions because there's easings, which I'm using quite a bit of. And so there's a lot of like you got a bounce easing right here, which is really nice if you want like a hard stop. You've got elastic, which is just like a little bit of a sort of a very tight spring. And then there's another one that I like a lot, this ease out back, which is, it just goes past the maximum just a little bit and then comes back in. So they're not exactly like springs because a spring would oscillate more depending on the spring constant, right? But they're very good ways to add that springy motion into your UI without having to do anything too complicated. So these are all the easings that you can use. They're kind of universal, and then you can put those easings and transitions into tweens in Godot, which is what I'm doing here. So all these tweens you see, basically just making use of those easings to get that kind of effect as well. But yeah, spring motion is very, very, it adds so much life to your game. Same with camera and stuff, like your camera follow should be kind of spring-ish. Screen shake is also, can be modeled after a spring. It's a very good thing to do. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm thinking this may not work the way that I want it to work because, well, I guess we'll just find out. We'll just find out. Oh yeah, that did not work at all. What I might have to do with this is I might have to take the owner. So, like this, hello Sagleaf, welcome back to the stream. So this passive selection card right here actually has a root of a center container, but in my discard others function, I'm removing the animated card, which is here. So that passive selection card is still sticking around, and that's actually a bad idea because you typically don't want to be separating scenes like that at runtime, because then like your script will break down. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna say other card dot owner dot get parent. I'm just gonna say root node is equal to other card dot owner, or oh, that's JavaScript. And then we'll just say root node. So that should handle it. So if the card has an owner, we're going to remove the owner from its parent. Otherwise, the owner is itself. And so I think that'll fix it. So let's see if that works. Now, the thing about that is that that's going to be a little bit hazardous as well. Cannot remove child animated card as it is not a child of this node. Very interesting. Because I didn't use the oh boy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to genericize this. I might have been better off just copying, pasting code. Oh no, I destroyed it. Bear with me here for a second. You know, I'm just gonna make it easy. If root node is not control, not return, we're just gonna continue. So we're just gonna say, if this scene is not set up correctly, we're not even gonna do anything about it. And then what we can do in here, I could probably call this like root control. So we got root control. Other card. Now, does this have to be... Sorry, I gotta put this back. Okay, yeah. So I need to modify the tween as well to be that root control. All right, now let's see what happens. Okay, that didn't work either. There's something fishy going on here. Oh, this is problematic here. Discard others. Yeah, this add child is not good. Oh man, I probably shouldn't have done this. I thought it was going to be clever and reuse animations, but there's too many cases. Although, I could just make this even worse. You're gonna have to pardon my less than ideal code at this moment. My personal philosophy is animation code is allowed to be messy because I don't even know if there's a way to do animation code properly. Okay. Everything is back in order. So now the question is, will my refactor even be useful on this screen? Because the problem is in here, I'm probably going to have to make these new scenes, which isn't the end of the world, these reroll cards and gold cards. Probably going to have to make those new scenes just so that their owners are not this scene. Otherwise, it'll break the animation. So I guess it's not going to let me do this either. I'm not going to be able to do that. Yeah, because this is already inheriting from a node. So I'm going to need to do a new inherited scene. I need to inherit from animated card. I'm going to say gold. What do I want to call it? I guess I'll just call it gold card. I don't know. And then we're going to save that in reward. And then we can, this is a handy trick, merge from scene, which means I'm going to take the nodes out of that wave reward selection screen. I'm going to take all of these child nodes, and there's my gold card pulled out. And then what I can do is I can remove it from here, add my gold card in there instead, and all is well in the world. And so I need to do the same thing here. So we're going to create a new animated card for the reroll card. We're going to save it in the reward directory. We're going to merge from scene. Okay. Now I probably will need to add a script to this one because I need to change the text. So I need to make the text accessible. But we're going to remove this. Instance of child scene, reroll card. Okay. Quite a lot of effort to get that to work, but that is how these things go, I suppose. So now I need to remove the script from here and add a new one. And we're going to make that inherit from, well, let's put it in the right namespace first. And this inherits from animated card. I usually don't like doing inheritance, but in this instance it makes sense, I think. I don't like doing inheritance in Godot, I should say. And so what this is going to do is essentially, we've got our reroll card. We're going to reassign that to reroll card. And then in our set remaining rerolls, we're just going to take this text and we're going to say reroll card, set remaining rerolls, and just pass that along. Slap that in there. Perfect. Okay, and then we don't need to grab a reference to that anymore. So why did I do all that? Oh, the reason I did all that is because when I click a quit button pressed, what I want to do essentially is I want to say, I'm just going to test this real quick. So left gun preview card dot animated card dot discard others. Curious to see what happens when I do that. It's going to break very massively, so get your popcorn ready. Oh. Object reference not set to instance of object on line 50. Reroll card is not being set correctly. Why is that? Because I don't have this marked as a unique name. I should probably... Don't I have an error? Yeah. I don't know why the error doesn't show up in here. But I do have a helpful error. Could not match member reroll card to any node in wave reward selection screen.tscm. So I did have the foresight to add an error there. I just didn't have the foresight to check the right place. All right, now get your popcorn ready. Okay. That's not what I was expecting. The other cards didn't get discarded. So maybe I'll just print in here. We're going to count how many other cards it finds. That number should be 3. That number was 3. Cool. So I wonder why it's not discarding these ones. That's peculiar. Oh, my guess is since these are... My logic must be wrong because these are animated cards that are the roots of their scenes. So if I say root node is other card.owner or other card, if root node is not control, root control, continue. Peculiar indeed. I should see 3 EOs when I get to this point. I only see 1 yo. So that means that this is not working. But it should be... The animated card is a control node. And it does see all 3 cards. It's saying the root node is equal to other card.owner. If that is null... If the owner is null... Oh... It doesn't have a null owner. Because the owner is this scene right here. My plans have been thwarted yet again. Okay, well, let's make another assumption in this code. This code is extremely brittle, so don't model your code after this. I think the way that this is going to have to work is... Basically, if other card... Huh, how am I going to do this? Okay, well, I think this will work. Hello, Shadow. Welcome to the stream. Glad to see you. So, instead of stopping the loop, I'm just going to set the root control equal to the other card. So I don't know if that makes much sense, but we're going to see if it works. Cannot remove child gold card as it is not a child of this node. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to probably think about redoing that again. Okay. Cannot access a disposed object. What does that mean? Reroll card, center, pivot, offset. Oh, right. I probably don't need to fix this. What's being worked on? So my UX designer friend had some more UI feedback for me, which I think was really nice. So last stream, I spent time working on this gun explorer here, which was a way to use tabs to switch between the guns so you can preview them. The problem is that my UX designer friend came up with a much better idea, and that looks like this. And so what we're building is we're essentially building this screen instead. So this is when you're presented with your part reward. You will get to see both of the guns together as cards and how the gun part affects the stats of those guns. And then you'll have the option to reroll or take gold. And so you just, with one button, you can just say, I want it on this gun and be done, right? And you can see everything up front. And it's using the new card design that I'm kind of using now for the game. So integrating all of that together. Hello, Lemon Projects. Welcome to the stream. That looks really cool. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. Yeah, I was kind of dismayed because I was like, I just spent so much time building out that other UI, but you know, you have to admit that this one is probably better, or it is better. At least I think it's better, so got to spend more time. It's not a whole lot of work. It's just the hardest part, honestly, is the animations. Getting the animations to work correctly is a lot of hassle, unfortunately. But you know, that's how it goes sometimes. That is how it goes sometimes. I'm just looking at, I think there was another instance of my mouse click not being accepted, so I just got to make sure that better not be the rich text label. Yep, rich text label, stop. Has the mouse filter stop, so it was intercepting my clicks. That's annoying. Okay, so we're good. So we're good. Okay, back to this screen. So I think that's looking good. I can discard those like that. If I don't expand the use case for when those cards get discarded, I think I'll be able to get away with that spaghetti code. But as soon as I need to add more requirements to this, it's gonna be a nightmare, but that's fine. That's a problem for future Firebelly. So I just need to make this work correctly now, so that should work. When I call discard others, it is setting the input to disabled as well, right? We're gonna move that up to the top. Okay. So now when I select a card, it should work just fine. Oh, spoke too soon. That's concerning. Why would that happen? Oh, wait a minute. Shoot. I think what I'm gonna have to do is do the same thing. I'm gonna have to remove that right gun preview card. move it to the root. Okay, that's fine. Selected preview dot get parent dot remove child. Selected preview. Selected preview dot add. Oh, nope, not that. I just want to add child here. So again, the reason that I'm removing it from its parent is because when the other elements disappear from the container just immediately snaps into action and repositions it, which is not what I want to do. And so in order to be able to animate them and preserve their positions for animating, I have to move them outside of a context where a container is affecting them. And so that's why I'm doing that. It's very messy. It's the thing that I probably like least about my time with Godot. But it is what it is, and it's fine. So we'll just deal with it. How easy is it to learn Godot Engine? Well, the thing about Godot Engine, and this is getting better, is that it doesn't have nearly the same amount of community tutorials and content that other engines do. Like, if you want to just make a game, Unity is going to have all the resources that you need to do so. There are a lot of great resources in Godot, and that's growing every day. But I would say that if you're the kind of person that's going to have trouble figuring out what's going wrong and not being able to find an answer on the internet for why it's going wrong, then you might have a rough time with Godot Engine. But if you are the kind of person that likes to stick with an issue and troubleshoot something for a while, I haven't encountered yet a Godot Engine issue that was an absolute showstopper that I couldn't figure it out. I have had very frustrating issues where it took me a few days to figure it out, but so that's it. So the difficulty all comes in with how experienced you are and also how willing you are to stick through problems that may not have an obvious answer on the internet somewhere. But I would say, generally speaking, it's, compared to other engines, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's, you can learn a lot about the engine just by reading the official documentation. It's just when you do encounter a situation that's not explicitly documented or tutorialized somewhere, that's where you're going to hit some difficulties. It is a fun engine. I mean, I would recommend you give it a shot. I mean, the only thing you have to lose is time. It's completely free. It's really fun to use. I like it a lot. So I need to store the selected preview rect global position. And then I need to restore that. All right, so I think this ought to work now. So when I click on this, perfect. So now this is not even in a context anymore. This is not even in a context anymore where it's being affected by the automatic layout. We're going to disable the input on both of those cards. We also need to disable the input on the gold card. And the reroll card. Just to make sure the player can't click on anything after they've already made a selection. And just mash my mouse button just to make sure. Perfect. All right, I'm just going to double check to my passive reward selection screen, make sure this is working. I know you said this a couple of streams ago, but what do you use to make your art? I use a sprite. So it's like it's just a really nice pixel art program. And it's like the standard, I mean, it's got everything you could ever need for doing pixel art. So that's what I use. And it's got, like palette support, so I can import palettes and use that just fine. So, all right. I just got a package that I need to bring into the house, so give me 30 seconds. I will be right back. Sign up for my newsletter at firebelly.com in the meantime. All right, so we're nearly there with our UI animations to the point where I can start testing and handling. Well, I guess there's a couple more edge cases that I need to handle as well, but we're almost there. So the selection is working great. There is one thing that I'm noticing though, which is that these are not centered. So I need to The other thing about animating UI elements is that you want to make sure that the pivot offset, you want to make sure that the pivot offset is centered in the control node. And since the control nodes are variable height and can be resized by their container parents, you have to do this. The only way I've found to do this, to lock it into the center so you can animate it, is to do it in the process method. So I actually wrote an extension method called center pivot offset, which does this for me. But the code is essentially you do rect pivot offset is equal to rect size divided by 2, right? It's pretty simple, but it's just nicer to call center pivot offset. And so that should clean up the animations quite a bit, actually. Perfect. What is my favorite color as of late? Well, in the context of this game, I have been really digging using like variations of purple. I think that the purple and orange looks really good together, but also I've just been using it like the actual tile set has a lot of purple in it as well, which I really like. So did you make a website myself? Yes, I did. And how did you make the newsletter system with Next.js? It's not with Next.js. I'm using a service called SendFox for emails, and they have a form, like they generate some form code for you that you can integrate into your page. And I tweaked that a little bit to make it look nicer with my setup. But yeah, it's making a post request to the SendFox API, which then adds the email to my list that is maintained through them. So yeah, so it's all being done by a third party that I pay for. Purple is an amazing color because so many colors can be put together with purple and look really good. Yeah, I've discovered that. It's really nice. All right, so what now? We need to do like an out animation. That's basically what, and in. So let me just do this. Going to Commit what I have. So, animate in. Do I have an in animation? I do. So the passive select cards have in animation, so that's what plays here. So that's the in. I don't know if I should do the same for the cards on the next screen, which is this screen, or if I just make them pop in. I kind of feel like just making them pop in. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to be lazy. I might change that in the future, but I already have a lot of the tweens built for that, so I mean, I could potentially move this in tween to them, but let's just see how it works first. Don't want to get too ahead of myself here. The thing that would be nice though about pulling this into a function on the base animated card class is then I won't have to copy it a bunch of times, but I ought to make sure that this actually looks the way I want it to look first before I go too deep on that. And then we're going to have to do the same thing for the gold cards. Thank goodness for VS Code's multi-editing capabilities. Oh, dang it. I named this wrong. Okay, and let's see if that looks good. Ah, dang it. All right. So if we're in test scene mode, and this is test scene, so this is a cool little trick too for Godot. If you want some code to run only when you run the scene from locally, so like with this button here up in the top, so like I can just run this scene without running the game, right? If you want to run some special setup code to make sure that it's in the proper state, you can write a function like this. If getTree.currentScene.filename is equal to the file name of the class that you're using. So basically, if getTree.currentScene.filename is equal to file name, so that's the file name of this current script, then I can run my setup code. I know that it's running from that button. But I just abstracted that into a function, if is test scene. And then here what I can say is I can say await this.timer 0.5. And this.timer is an extension method I made, which essentially just awaits a scene timer. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I have plenty of time for the game to initialize before I see the animations. So let's see if that works. Well, that didn't look so pretty, did it? Why is it only animating one? Oh, because I'm... I didn't change this anywhere else. This is the bad part about duplicating a bunch of the same tweens. Depending on how this looks, though, I will refactor, but let's just get it working first. Cool, and then the thing that we can do to give this a little bit more elegance, so to speak, is that we're going to tween interval. We're going to put a 0.1 second delay between each of these popping up. And that ought to just adding. So here's another tip, a thing that I found when developing your games is if you can just break up the lockstep of something. So if you have two animations that are the same and you want to play them both, it looks kind of awkward for them to be perfectly synchronized. So if you can like change the animation scale of one of them to be like slightly less than or greater than one, or if you add a little bit of delay so that they're not both happening at exactly the same time, it looks a lot more organic when you do that. There you go. See, so basically everything shows up at the same time, but they're staggered to the extent that it's not all happening at once. And obviously it looks bad because they're immediately showing up, but if I were to go into the game, I think this is going to look a lot nicer. Whoops, wrong screen. That's kind of what we got going on. Although I'm not sure, I don't know, what do you guys think? Does that look okay? Or should I do something a little bit more sophisticated than that? I think it looks a little weird for some reason, but I think there's something weird going on. Oh, I think what's weird that's going on... I think I should set the modulate of all these things to transparent. So when I call animate in, we're going to say left gun preview card. You like it? All right, cool, cool. Glad you like it. Anyone else have any thoughts on that animation? See how it looks in the game. It's 420, everyone. 421 now. All right, so check it out. That looks pretty good, huh? You like it, Trublub? Awesome, awesome. Looks amazing in my opinion. Thank you. All right, looks like I'm keeping that then. Unanimous consensus. So now I need to make this animate out when I choose this. So when I choose this card, it needs to go away. It should probably... Should I make it go to the center of the screen too? Oh no. I should probably make it go to the center of the screen, huh? So you choose it, it slides into the center and then fades out. Yeah? No? Hello, Matka Bosca. Really good. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Mr. Enrique, or Enrique. But thank you, appreciate it. Glad to see you all here too, by the way. Make it center after the play selects it. Okay, cool, I will do that. I think that's a good idea. Yep. I should probably do that. Another unanimous consensus, wow. All right, so I will do that. Let's see what we got going on here. So I need to do an animate out. Now, the thing about the animate out is that there's a number of ways, well, there's two different ways that I can end interaction with that screen. I can choose the gold, or I can choose to equip the gun part. And so I ideally need to be able to support both of those use cases. And so the question is, how do I do that? So I'm going to animate out. Maybe I'll do something like control selected card or something like that. Then I can say if selected card is gold card. Well, I can do this. If equals gold card. We're going to have to do something there. Else if selected card equal or is gun preview card. See, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see. So basically in here, when I call animate out, I want to disable all the inputs. I want to say animate out with my selected preview here. And then I think the rest of this stuff can just be generic. So we're going to discard others if it's the gold card or if it's a gun preview card. So we can get rid of that, discard others. And then I believe what I can do is I actually don't need to know I don't need to know the specificity or the specific details of the card anymore. So I can just say selected card. And it's all working great. So on gold press, we're going to say animate out gold card. Perfect. Hello, Drone in Danger. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you here. Good to see you. I'm very pleased to announce that I have not seen any spam messages come through chat yet. So subscribers only mode fixes the chat. Big brain. So, animate out. I used to have a lot of other animations here. Let's go to the file history. This is another reason why you should commit frequently, is because there's a very recent version of this file, which I can just go back to and pull out the animations. Yeah, so in here, I'm just going to grab this. And now I can just slap it in here. All right, so what am I doing? That is not an existential question. That is just a question about what am I doing in this moment. So this tween right here scales it out to 0. And I need it to go to the center as well. I don't think I need this line, so we'll get rid of that. We'll create a tween and bind it to the selected card. I'm not even exactly sure what binding does exactly with the scene tree tween, but so we're going to set the rect scale of the selected card to 0 over 5 seconds with an ease type of in and a transition type of circ. We're going to emit signal name of finished, which is correct, and then cue free. That seems right to me. Hello, Marcos. I really love your approach that I started using in my game now. My entire player area decouple, or my entire player are decoupled. I can remove anything still working. Hope I see more people using. Yeah. So making sure that you have as few dependencies as possible for each of your scenes is really, I think it's the way to go. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're going to have coupling that you can't get away from, but yeah, it makes everything a lot easier. Hello, the Crazy Ed. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. I really admire the way you could keep talking to the chat and coding without losing the flow. Yeah, I tried streaming game dev some months ago, and I can say it's definitely not for me. Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess it is somewhat hard to do sometimes. I do lose my train of thought every so often, but yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, so I'm gonna tween the scale down. I'm gonna tween it to the center. So what does the center look like? Out tween dot tween property, selected card. I think this is gonna be global rect position. Is that what it is? And where do we want to go? We need to know, first of all, so we'll take the margin container center position because the margin container is full screen. So let's just grab a reference to the margin container. Excellent. And then what are we doing with that? Who knows? Oh, margin container. Rect global position. I guess that's not necessary. I can just say rect size divided by 2. So we're going to send it to the center of the margin container position over a period of maybe 0.3 seconds. And I'm curious to see if that just works as is right now. Plot twist, it did not work. I gotta make sure that that global rect position is even correct. Oh, it's not. It's rect global position. I got that wording wrong. So it's going to the center, but it's placing the top left corner of the card in the center. So I need to do some more math, unfortunately. All right, I think that ought to work. Another cool thing is that out of all creators within the Game Dev community on YouTube, he's one of the few people that are working on something that has a unique identity. Well, thank you, I appreciate it. I'm so happy to hear that you think it's got a unique identity. That's one of the things that I always struggled with is like, how do I not make a clone of another game? So I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you so much. Okay, so we got it going to the center. It's a little bit rough because I'm just using a linear transition, and there's a little bit of a scale that's happening. I don't know if you can pick up on that, but when I click, it does a bounce, and some of that bounce is still going when it's going over. So what I can do is I can just wait out the bounce. The other thing I could do is I could just take control of that. So I could say my out tween is equal to my selected card, create tween. What am I doing? I don't even know. Oh, there we go. Oh, I think what I'm gonna do is do gold card. Oh, right here. So out tween is equal to gold card dot create or play bounce, I think. Yeah. And what this does is this returns the bounce tween that happens when I click. So by doing this, when I call play bounce, if there's already a bounce playing, it just kills it. And so it plays bounce when I click it, so that's not in my control. But I can take it into my control by killing it by calling it again. I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically when I call this, it kills the old one. And now I can add more tweeners to it. And then I can do the same thing here. So out tween is equal to gun preview card dot animated card dot play bounce. So now I've got my tween. And so now this should be sequential. So after the bounce is done, then it will start moving. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Now the question is, do we make it scale out like it just did? Or do we make it slide down like the passive does? I'm kind of tempted to make it slide down. But first, let's figure out a proper easing for that. So we've got our easing cheats sheet here. Right now it's linear, so it looks really boring. I'm thinking we probably want to use like an in or an out. Probably an out. Maybe we'll do an out. Or we could do in out, and that might actually be good. So in out, it slowly ramps up at the beginning and then slowly ramps down at the end. And in means it slowly ramps in, and an out means it slowly ramps out. So let's try an ease in out quart here. So I'm going to take this rect global position that's being animated here. We're going to set the ease to in out, and then we're going to set the transition to transition type.quart. See how that looks. Just to clarify, I'm not saying the others are bad. No, of course not, yeah. In fact, they are a lot of really talented creators on here, but a lot of the games just feel like they don't care that much. Yeah, I do. There's a number of devlogs that I really like watching. I get what you're saying about some of the devlogs not feeling super inspired or unique, but there's a lot of great content, a lot of great devlogs. I get a lot of inspiration for my devlogs from other places. So maybe export all easing to test it. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure I understand what the suggestion is. It sounds like it would be helpful, but I don't know. Are you saying export the tween parameters? Even if you don't care, that's not the impression we get. Well, I do care, so no worries there. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this channel and just with making this game generally. I'm really excited about this game in particular. I haven't really been this excited about a game project of mine ever, so it's part of the reason why I'm enduring this grueling UI rework. I've been following the development of Gun Game since the start of it. What made you come back to the idea and not start something else? So the thing is, first of all, thanks so much for being around for a while. Appreciate you sticking around and following everything. Basically what happened was I said, I'm going to stop development on Gun Game, and then I got a bunch of comments on even like unrelated videos, like, what happened to Gun Game? And so I kind of took that as a sign that like, well, obviously there was something there. So I started just thinking about it some more, and but I had my own problems with the game as it was in the old way. So I was like, well, I'm going to keep the core sort of formula there of constructing your weapon out of parts, but I'm going to see if I can do it a little bit different. And I think it's working out really well. So, but yeah, I think I mostly came back to it because a bunch of people said that they missed the game. And I didn't want to just ignore that, because when your audience is telling you, hey, I was really looking forward to this game, I feel like you should listen to that. You know, if the game was bad, like really bad, no one would have said anything, right? So, hello, Light, welcome back. Hello. Oh, I forgot how to pronounce your name. Hello from Ukraine, what's up? Yeah, thanks for coming back to the stream. Good to see you here. We're just working on some more UI stuff. You know, I actually haven't tested this animation yet, so let's take a look. Ooh, that's too fast. I guess I didn't realize that most of that delay is the animation playing. Here's what I'm going to do instead. No. Yeah, actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say out tween dot set parallel true. So we're going to set it to parallel. We're going to run both the scale and the global position at the same time, but we're going to set a delay on the global position. And that delay is going to be something like, I don't know, 0.3 seconds. And then we're going to say out tween dot set parallel false, out tween dot chain. And I think that's going to work. I'm just hyped to see where it goes and playing sometime in the future. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping, I really am trying to like work really hard on this because I don't want it to be in development forever. So I'm hoping like within 6 months I'll be very close or finished with the game, but we'll see. Phillips. Okay, Phillips. I have to remember that. Can export enum. I could, but I still have to define like what properties are being tweened, so I really wouldn't be, I don't think I'd be saving any time. I guess if I just wanted to play with the easings, but yeah, I see how that could be helpful then. Well, I put the game on both Steam and itch. It depends. It might just be Steam, but we'll see. It might be one of those deals where I put it on Steam first for the first couple months and then put it on itch later. But I don't want to start thinking too far ahead there. My primary goal right now is to get the game in shape for doing like a Steam page, so that way I can start getting wish lists from everyone while the rest of the game is being developed. Because that's like the universal advice is get your game up on Steam early so you can start collecting wish lists like for a long time. All right, is this even going to work? That seemed to work pretty well. We're going to turn down the delay a little bit to 0.2. Maybe we want to do like an out transition instead. We'll turn up the duration a little bit of that tween. Why does that not look good? There's something a little bit stilted about that animation. I could use like a back instead of a sign so that it kind of like overshoots and then comes back. Ooh, too fast. I think the bigger gun panel is too big to animate it scaling down on the disappear animation. The modulate, I don't think looks very good either, so that's why I'm trying to stick to scales and positions. But what I'm thinking about doing instead, I understand what you're saying, is what I'm thinking about doing is making it the style of this screen where the card slides into the middle and then slides down. So it's kind of like it's being put into your inventory rather than just disappearing into the void. The reason the modulate does not work as well as I would like it to is because it just looks kind of weird. So if I do this, do you see how all of the elements are sort of independently modulated? And so it's not like a nice, consistent fade. It's like a bunch of transparent elements being overlaid on top of each other. This is something that will be fixed in Godot 4, but this is a notorious problem with using modulate in Godot. And I just think that doesn't look very good at all. So I'm trying to stay away from modulates. And just generally speaking, like this game doesn't really make use of transparency at all. And so it just kind of like doesn't thematically fit either. But I definitely understand what you're saying, that it looks awkward. And I agree. So I think I'm going to make it slide down and see how that works. But I have to figure out why this is not working. Let's see, back to my cheat sheet. Ease out back. So I want out. Animations are juicy. Thank you. Maybe adding some particles too on the UI. That's a good idea. Oh no, message retracted. Why is that so... Do I need to set this up more? So 0.8 seconds to go to the position. Now that just looks kind of bleh. What? Cat's hungry. Let's do maybe in out cubic. I like how the UI is squishing and jumping around. Thank you. Kind of workaround modulate, you can use viewport. Yeah, oh, viewports are a nightmare though. I'm using viewports for the guns so I can outline them in a nice way. And it was a nightmare to work with. I'm kind of like, I think I'm going to upgrade this project to Godot 4 when that hits either release candidate or stable, just because there's a lot of nice features that I think I'm going to be able to use. Plus, I might be able to make heavier use of lighting as well, because the lighting performance is supposed to be better, so I want to see how that works. But I also don't want to hold up this game for Godot 4 if it's going to be a while. Looks a little stiff, but I know I can make it better. Yeah. So let's see what happens. So it's kind of okay right now. Let's see what happens if I move it off screen. The slide down animation would be a great addition. Cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. And I don't know, how did I do it? Here. So now the question is, should I just add this to... Why are there two? So the only problem with sliding it out, really, is that if somebody has a weird screen size, so like if I run the game and my screen size is like longer than it is tall, the card is going to slide down and then like just disappear out of thin air. But I don't think that's a huge deal. That's something that can be tweaked later. So I'm going to create a public function. What? All right. Sorry, the cat needed to be attended to because he is demanding. Slide down. So, yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm essentially allowing an optional tween to be passed in. If the tween is passed in, then it will just append. And if not, oh, this isn't even going to work, is it? Make it a bit more cohesive altogether. Yeah. I don't even know if I can reasonably do this. I guess I have to pass in a control. Okay, and I don't want these last parts here either. Okay, so there's our slide down. So now let's see if I can use it in here. Why does it want me to chain? Oh. Okay. So it's scaling out, so we want to get rid of that. And what we want to do in here instead is we want to say this is so messy. I just don't know of any good ways to make animation code nice and reusable. It seems to be a little bit of a mess always. I don't even know if this is going to work, but all right, let's give it a whirl. Spaghetti time. Huh, very interesting. Oh, because I already have it sliding to the middle for some reason. Huh. Well, now if I just reduce it to one line, it doesn't really... I don't think it really needs to be all that... Well, I guess if I'm gonna genericize it, I might as well just make it generic in terms of sliding in. Wow, it worked. How amazing. Now, why is it waiting forever, though? That's what I want to know. Oh, because I'm animating it to the center twice in a row. Now that looks 100% better, thank you. The only problem now that I'm going to be facing here is... So the problem is that what am I saying? So that bounce tween that's happening, here's what I need to do. Sorry, I haven't articulated the problem very well. So that bounce tween that's happening finishes before playing that slide down tween. But if I set it to parallel, tween for an interval of 2 seconds. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Does it make sense? I don't know. I'm getting lost in these tweens. Looking really good. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I guess I don't know how to. I guess I'll have to create a new tween. I mean, that's just how I'm gonna have to do it. So I guess what I'll do is I'll just say we'll tween interval 0.2 seconds, so we'll just wait, and then I think that'll work, right? Midnight for you? Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for coming to the stream. Have a good sleep. We tried making the slide down animation transition with trans back. I am using the back transition in some places. So I could definitely try it for the slide down, I think. So it's still looking a little bit stilted. Why is it doing that? Very concerning, very concerning. It looks like the tween interval isn't doing anything. I don't know why that is. Oh yeah, the stream delay. Stream delay is brutal. What's been going on? Nothing much, just still working on the good old UI here. I don't understand where that delay is coming from. So when I click it, animate out. So I don't think I need these out tweens anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of that, simplify the code a little bit. I actually don't need this play bounce either, so we'll get rid of that. So the problem is it looks like this slide down for some reason has a little bit of oh, because I've got set delay right here. Tricksy, tricksy. All right, so that should work. Now I can go ahead and add my own proper delay here. So it's essentially adding extra time that I wasn't aware of. That transition to the center still looks awkward though. It just goes like too fast compared to the passive select screen. It's the same animation though. Maybe I just need to fix it generally. What I am going to do in here is I'm going to see if I can get away with call slide down. So since I redefined or since I abstracted out the animation, I'm just going to use it here now and see if that way I can change it in both places at the same time. And my append tween is going to be the card tween. So essentially what I'm going to want to do is do a card tween dot tween interval point to F because there's the delay there. All right. Let's see if that works. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm using the same animation in both places, so it should be easier to change everything at once. Maybe panel rotate a little bit when you go to center. Ooh, good idea. That's a very good idea. Off to implement that. So when it goes to the center of the screen, here, we're going to add another, is it just called rotation? Rect rotation? And we need to determine the rotation because if it's coming from the right-hand side of the screen, it should probably rotate a different direction than if it's coming from the left-hand side based on the momentum. So we're going to say rotation mod is equal to, I don't know, screen control. Let's do this. center screen position is equal to that. So the rotation mod is equal to our center card position is equal to the global position plus the rect size divided by 2. So that will give us the center card position. And the reason why I need that is because I'm going to say rotation mod is equal to center card position dot x is greater than center screen position dot x. We're going to say the rotation mod is 1, otherwise it's -1. And then when we go in here and apply this rect rotation, what we're going to do is we'll set it to point to here. And then we're going to do another one. This is going to require a delay though. So we're going to go to, I don't know, let's just call it like 10 times rotation mod. And then we're going to take it back to 0. But we can use the transition type back in here for out and maybe back in here for in. And I think that might do it, so it'll be easier to test on here. That was not visible at all. Why can't I do it through animation? Well, animation nodes have one big problem, which is that it's very hard to dynamically change the properties of the animation. So if I want the card to go to a position on screen, it's very difficult to do that with an animation player. With a tween, I can just say, go to this position with these parameters, right? So it's much easier. Maybe the back is not working here. Just change it to sine. Might have to accentuate the rotation as well. So change it to like 25. So I think this line right there is causing problems as well. So what's going on here? It takes 0.4 seconds to go to the center screen position. How do tweens work? Well, they're basically just this. You create a tween and then you define which property you want to tween, how long it takes, and then you set whatever easings you want like this. And there's a couple of other utilities, but that's basically it at the end of the day. And you just combine all of these tween properties together in the desired way. I'd recommend playing around with them. They're pretty cool. So for some reason, this doesn't look amazing. And I think something's janky's going on here. Yeah, so it's just, the rotation's just like snapping around. I don't know what is up with that. Perhaps it's just being modified by its container. Yeah, the rotation's not working out. I think it's because... I'm curious, what happens if I just say get parent? Am I even animating the correct property? Let's just make sure. Rect rotation in degrees. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It doesn't appear to be working that well. I'm sure it's just because of the way I've got my scene set up. Oops, wrong scene. It's not even changing the rotation. Am I doing something wrong here? Changing the rect rotation property to 25 times either 1 or -1. I set it for a duration of 1 second. Oh, let's set this delay to 1 second here. I'm just accentuating the delays and the times so I can actually see if it's working. So once it finishes the first rotation, it immediately snaps back to 0. And I have a feeling it's because this delay is not working the way that I'm thinking it's working. I bet you if I put card tween.chain right here, then it would start working properly. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for. Now it's just a question of like, can I actually do this in a good way? See, the problem here is that this takes 0.4 seconds, but it appears as if I cannot put a delay. Or alternatively, perhaps I could do... So here's what I think is happening, right? The delay means that the tween is not processing at all. And so there's a brief moment in time. If I set this delay to 0.2, which is the same as the duration of the initial rotation, there's a brief moment in time in between this is interpolating and this is interpolating where nothing is happening. And so the container of the card resets its rotation because I'm not allowed to do that. So if I go in here, so I have a center container, which is the parent. If I take this animated card and rotate it, see, doesn't let me do it. Children of a container get their position and size determined only by their parent. I can't even rotate. So there's a brief moment in time in here, in between the delay and this being run, where that container kicks in and takes over, snaps it right back to 0. So the trick is, there always needs to be a tween running to be constantly overriding the rotation that would otherwise be applied by the container. Now, if I had known all of this before I started working on this, I may have designed my scenes in a little bit more smart of a way. But this is all stuff that I'm learning along with all of you. So we're gonna have to figure out how to work in a spaghetti solution for myself, for the way I've got it set up. And I think one spaghetti solution might be to knock this down to 0.19 instead of 0.2, have the delay end just before the first animation does. And so that way it sort of kicks in early, and we'll see if that works. Tweens are so confusing. They're not the most intuitive things in the world. Hoping Godot 4 we can use variables in animation players. That would be nice. I think you can. Isn't there like expressions now in animations? Did try pick current rotation. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. This solution doesn't even seem to be working, so. What happens if I set it to something like 0.01f? So I don't know if that would work, but I'm thinking maybe if it's not snapping to 0. You can modify properties. You can modify properties, but at least the way that I'm aware is like you have to actually go into the animation and find the node that you want to modify and change its value. And that's like a whole big long chain of code that you have to write. It's possible to modify the animations at runtime in an animation player, but as far as I'm aware, it's just not very intuitive or very clean. Tweens have functions. Oh yeah, I could call set rotation perhaps. That's a good idea. So let's see if that will work. So if I set my delay to 2, but the thing is, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to... So I'm going to see if I can call the setter. I don't know if that's going to work. But I'm hoping that, so basically what this will do is that after 0.2 seconds, it's going to set the rect rotation to 25, which is our target here. So essentially setting it to what it should be. And then hopefully this tween will kick in immediately afterwards. We'll see. Just joined and wow, that looks clean. Thank you. Ah, I can't set the setter. Why do you need to use a tween? Like, what case do you need to use custom set rotation? Because I want the rotation to be either to the left or to the right. I don't think this rotation is going to work. Not the way that I want it to anyway. The alternative thing that I can do, which I suppose is okay, is I can just make it a new tween. So I can have 2 tweens running. I think that'll probably be okay. I don't like to do this, especially if I might need to control it, because then I have 2 tweens to control later on. But in order to get this working, I think I'll just do it this way. Sign in out, set, we don't need delay in here anymore. All right, let's see if that works. There we go. Couldn't you just make 2 animations? No, well, I could save myself a lot of time, but that is not the clean way to do it, in my opinion. I'm using tweens everywhere else in this code, and so throwing in an animation player in there, and then figuring out which one I need to call based on, like, what position the... Basically, the situation that I want to avoid is, like, I have all of these situations that these cards can be in. They can be on various places of the screen. I don't want to end up with a position where I have 8 animation players that all do something slightly different. I'd rather just program it into the tween, get that right once, and then it works into the future, right? Like, these tweens are agnostic of, like, what state the card is currently in, which makes them nicer for this use case. Set rotation degrees. Well, I'm not using that anymore. I'm using a different tween. So that's looking okay now. YouTube pip mode on mobile? I do not know. I try to use my mobile phone as little as possible. Not because I'm some sort of, like, snob or anything, but because mobile screens give me claustrophobia. Not really, but when I sit at a computer with 2 1440p monitors all day, and then I go to my tiny little ant screen phone, that's not an ideal experience for me. Call me spoiled, whatever. I need my massive screen real estate. I should get a 4K monitor though. 1440p is like the peasant. I think that's looking okay. What happens if I reverse these? That was a good suggestion to add rotation. Sounds good, Shadow. No worries. Thanks for tuning in. I think that's looking good. Perhaps there could be a little bit of when it comes back to 0. Maybe I can use back here so that it bounces a little bit. So somebody suggested using back for cards, which I agree with. So we'll see if that works. Oh, wait. Is that going to work? Rect rotation mod. Oh, does it need to be out? I think it needs to be out. Wait a minute. I need to make this longer so I can actually see what's happening. Looks a little stiff, yeah. The easings are not quite right. The easings are not quite right. I think that's the problem. That looks better. Well, the real question is, how does it look when I do it over here? All right. Well, that's looking better. Perhaps I can... Well, I didn't even see if my rotation code was working. Yeah, that looks good. Add a little bounce, rotate it slightly after it gets to the right position. The opposite. Well, that's what the back is supposed to do. But it's not adding as much accentuation as I wanted it to. Is there a way to control that? I don't think so. I mean, I guess I could just manually program it in. So I could say -5F times rotation mod. And then back to 0. And then see how that looks. Ah, kind of like that, right? Kind of like that. There's something a little bit wrong with the initial rotation, but I think that's probably okay for now. A little bit of wobble. I wonder if it's just too quick. I wonder if I just add another 1/10 of a second onto it. Nope. The other problem is, like, when it's in the middle of the screen, I don't know if I want it to animate that much. I guess it doesn't matter. There's a little bit of time where it kind of snaps as well, so I don't know what that's about, but start animation is done with Animation Player, yes, but I'm going to probably remove that. because I'm already running into problems with it. Why is... I don't know why it's snapping in the middle there, but I think it looks fine for now. I think what I need to do is I need to go over here and see what it looks like here. What problems does it have? Well, it has exactly the problems that I was talking about, where I want them to randomize their rotation, and the only way that I'm accomplishing that right now is assigning a rotation mod on the ready method and then just multiplying, well, I was doing that, multiplying the rect rotation by the rotation mod every frame, and I don't want to do that. Also, I want to make it more dynamic. I want to generate some random parameters and have them come into the screen, not the same exact way every time. There's like a little like snap there. I don't know where that's coming from. Is it this? All right, Sag Leaf, thanks for hanging around. Good to see you. Oh, something went wrong there. Why did that happen? I have no clue why that's happening. I'm gonna have to investigate that some more. Put that back in there, though. All right, let's see. Can I even choose the gold? Does that even work? Oh, look at that. The gold works. Okay, let's see if it works in game. I'm gonna have to figure out that snapping that's happening. I don't know what that is, but figure it out, I'm sure. All right. Looking decent. Let's add the banana magazine onto the sniper rifle. I got a banana sniper, look at that. Haha. Banana moss sniper rifle. That's looking much better than the UI I had before. Reroll works just fine. I need to get rid of it when it hits 0, but... Perfect. All right, looking good. Maybe kind of explosion. Well, the coins appear in the world, so can make the coins appear a little bit. Maybe remove the dimmed background a little bit quicker, but... Cool. All right then. Well, I'm going to say that that is good for now. And I'm going to call the stream right there. So thank you all for joining me and helping me out to work through this stuff. This is very, very annoying UI work, but all your suggestions and feedback were very helpful, so thank you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for your interest in Gun Game. And yeah, I'll be doing more streams, probably another one at some point this weekend, so keep an eye out. So yeah, if you want to stay up to date, you can sign up for my newsletter at firebelly.com and subscribe to this channel, obviously. Follow my Twitter. And yeah, if you do any of those things, you shouldn't miss another stream. All right, so thanks again, everyone. Have a good evening or night or day or morning or wherever you are. And I will see you in the next stream or devlog. All right. Bye-bye.